Hey everyone. All right, this is another edition of Impact FX trade recaps for the week. This was a 14 RR day, and all of it happened within this consolidation period of the price action. Some of you might be wondering how that's possible. This is what I teach on a daily basis, talking about order flow, block flow, and how you can get into these trades understanding price action. So I have a bunch of markings, you guys, here that are hidden at the moment. I'm just going to step through price, and we're going to show I'm going to show you guys how I was able to achieve these trades. All right, so let's put the markings back on. And I'm going to share some screenshots that I'm going to put in the YouTube video from the Discord group. So this is basically what I posted out to the Discord group here, you guys. Alright, so I basically said here, I took a sell, okay? I'll explain that sell, and I got 1 to 4 hour or 5 hour out of it, but I really wanted the big move, and it just ended up breaking me even after I took a partial, but I'll explain that. But I sent this out to the group, you guys. I sent this out to the group, basically telling the group that price had changed order flow. So let's go to that screenshot, and you can see that that wick was taken out, and we tapped into this demand. So why is that demand? Because this is the sell to buy that was responsible for taking out previous supply that made a new low of structure. So if we're following price action, price makes a lower low, it fails to take out that low and then makes a new high. That means that this is an order block on the lower time frames, and I would expect a buy off that order block. What we like to do is we like to wait for a change of order flow so that we understand how to get into the trade. So I sent this out to the group. I said I'll be interested in a buy opportunity. And then I told the group that when I'm interested in buy opportunities, I look for a well-priced hedge to sell from. So how did I get into that trade? This looked like this. This sell to buy is a lower time frame order block that was responsible for the new low. So we made a lower high and a lower low. This is your order block. This is the extreme, but this is the order block that caused the low, not this one. So if we go to another time frame here, we'll find the order block. Let's keep going. And there it is. There's your order block that caused the new low. I would expect a reaction off this. And what do we have again? We have an internal order flow change. If you're not familiar with what an order flow change is, feel free to join the Discord. I also explain it in the course when that comes out. So inside of this order flow change, and I have explained this in previous videos, by the way, I wanted to take a hedge because I was looking for a buy. So let's first go through the first sell, and then I'll talk about the ways in which I got the other two examples. So if we go to price action here, all right, I woke up and I started looking at the charts basically here, okay, and I see this area of supply. Price ended up breaking that area of supply, and I looked and shorted because if we go to another time frame, this area here with this buy to sell was responsible for the liquidity sweep here, and on the 15-second time frame we did have a nice chalk that ended up taking out two demands. So I also saw trendline liquidity, so I decided to take this trade. It meets my rules. And this one ended up being a loss, and that's fine, no problem. But we still were creating trendline liquidity, which I talk about in my videos quite heavily. And we started approaching. There is another order block in here. Okay, so we start approaching another area of supply that to the left took out a really massive demand zone, okay? So if we go to the left is the previous demand, the right is the cause, and we look at this as being an area of interest for us to what? Take a short. Why do I want to take it short? Because that's the trend. The trend is bearish, and I want to be trading with the trend. So price, guys, on the 15-second ends up coming up into this zone, and it starts breaking structure. It took this previous rally-based rally up to the high. It tapped into this 15-second OB, and we ended up coming into my zone, and it fell quite nicely. And I was able to take a 1-to-5 RR trade that ended up hitting 1-to-6, but I took most of my profits off at 1-to-5 after the liquidity of the trend line got broken, and we have an imbalance order block right here that caused it to rally higher. So I ended up getting stopped out break even, but it was a nice 1-to-5 RR trade covering this loss plus 4R profit. Okay. So then I just kept watching price, and again, my original target, guys, was down here. Unfortunately, price came up, took me out, and then it did its move that it wanted. So it is what it is, all good. But that was the original move I was hoping to get off this move. It just didn't happen. So let's go back to the 15-minute, and let's start to look at price. Price has now come back down, and it took out this OB that shot price way up. And this is the only other area I was interested in to see if we got a reaction. If we didn't, then it would probably take out that low, and then we could look for a counter or what have you. But when price did this and then broke structure, okay, what do I mean by break of structure? So you can see here clearly it took out two highs, which means that it made a downtrend to an uptrend. That's what these mean. This is the last supply zone that had the failure of the low. So inside of this price action, you guys, I simply waited for my 15-second order flow change. And what do we have? We have a rally-based rally, which is an order block. Price broke it. We sell off the retest of the new supply that took out the demand. And I was looking to go break even at this order block. Why? Because price will reverse from a previous order block into the next order block. So I at least wanted to go break even because this could have taken price higher. I did believe we were well priced to sell from, and I actually was looking for a buy. So this is where I sent to the group. I said, when I'm interested in a buy, I will take a hedge. So this ended up being a nice hedge, and I was into this trade, and this paid for one loss that occurred that I did end up taking, which happened to be, I believe, right there, which I sent out so you can see the P&L. I did take this trade. I did take a loss right here, and you can see, you guys, that I actually posted the markups of where I believe price would go with the current price action. So what that looked like is I believed price would do something like this, come back into this area, and then shoot higher. And that's what I posted right here. And as you can see, this ended up being another really nice 1-to-5 RR trade that I ended up getting. And I closed the majority off at 1-to-5 and left the rest run as a hedge. And then I was interested in what happens next. So this ended up actually fully hitting 1-to-6, which was a nice solid trade. And now we tap into the area I believe price would reverse from. It's also in premium price. And all of a sudden, what do we get? We get multiple supply failures, and we do get a chalk. Now, in this instance here, I had two ways that I could have entered. The flip and the extreme, okay? I actually normally enter off the flip. I didn't in this case. I really thought this massive candle would hold price, so I thought price would come into it and go. And I ended up sending out to the group, I said I will probably buy here from this green box, as you can see here. I think I might take, I'll probably buy here. Hedge is still running. And all of a sudden it hits the flip zone and takes off on me. And I thought, shoot, I missed that trade. And I mentioned to the group, okay, we probably missed that trade. And then I explained why that would have been a trade you could have taken. Now, what ended up happening, you guys, is price tanked very, very rapidly, and I instantly bought from my original target because that makes sense why price would respect it. And so I got in here and I ended up having a 2.5 pip stop loss. As soon as price took off, I went break even because of the volatility. You can see that I did take that trade there. And I ended up closing this again, mostly at 1 to 5, but it ended up hitting 6.4. And the reason for this, again, you guys, was it's supply and demand, man. It's supply and demand creation. So when we have, if we take off these things, when this wick is taken out, you guys, creating this boss right here, we have two bosses. That means this candle becomes new demand. Price just needs to come into it and tell me it's going to reverse, and boom, we come back up into what? The order block, okay? Price then proceeded to fall off the order block, and that's block flow versus order flow, all right? So absolutely, you could have shorted again from the order block, and you would have got in here, and that would have been another 1 to 5, but I had already secured 14 RR for the day, and that ended up being the day. So what I teach in this group, guys, is order flow, block flow, how you understand price action. Because the reality is that on the lower time frames, guys, it's making price action, you guys, that the higher time frame makes. It just makes it in shorter time, and we can get into 14 RR trades, like I said, for the day. And my session today was 2 hours. So in 2 hours, we made 14 RR, and I know that some people wait weeks and weeks to make 14 RR. So this is what I teach in the group every day. Feel free to DM me if you got any questions. I have my Telegram account listed in the About section of my YouTube. Otherwise, the link to join will be on this video. Hope you all have a good rest of your week.